Hi, I'm Eric Stromquist, and this is Ken Smyers. Hopefully, you remember us. It hadn't been that long ago, but it has been a minute. So, first of all, we'd like to wish everybody a very, very happy new year and sort of touch base. And we've both been up to some different things. So, Kenny, why don't you tell our community a little bit about what you've been doing?
Well, I'm trying to stay healthy and avoid the that crazy COVID thing. But yeah, I had a professional change. I went from being a distributor, 30 some years in the distribution business, into the contracting business, which is a very interesting and challenging profession. It's a whole different world. I have tremendous respect for all the servicemen, all the building automation specialists, all the people that make facilities work. Because now that I'm in that on that side of the fence, so to speak, I have a new appreciation for just how difficult and challenging all these seemingly, taken for granted, seemingly, easy things to do. The tremendous amount of work, preparation, negotiations. I mean, you just got to keep working. The financial aspects of it, the actual physical presence aspects of it, and then it's still just a great hidden industry. I mean, nobody sees behind those mechanical doors, especially in hospitals and schools. It's just assumed that everything's supposed to be a-okay and working, and they don't understand all the small gears and then the big gears and how it's all just interrelated. And it's just a very interesting, challenging profession. I appreciate the folks at Chesapeake Controls, working with some very interesting people, some very strong players in the contracting industry.
Well, very cool. Yeah, no, I know, and it gives you a great new perspective on things. I know for sure. Well, for me, Rob Allen has taken over running the day to day at Stromquist and Company. Been doing a great job. So I have taken this opportunity to spend a lot of time with my kids, a lot of time to read, ponder, write, look at different things industry wise, and it's been eye opening. So you kind of don't realize. I was talking to John Donahue the other day, a buddy of ours who used to own Control Co. and not Control Co. I mean Controls Consultants, and he was talking about you have no idea how stressed you were until you get away, until you step away, right? So I've had a lot of time to ponder and think about things, and kind of the purpose of this video is we wanted to address two things. We wanted to talk about what sort of why we stepped away for a minute, and then also what we have planned coming up. So, with that, Kenny, I think episode 400, I think was in March, which was the last episode we did, and I think that when we originally created ControlTrends, Kenny, we were looking for something fresh. We wanted to create value, and the value I think that we had was we came at it from a unique, fresh approach. And I think, one of the things that's challenging for us as individuals, as well as for companies and everybody else, is that, you have to pivot sometimes, right? When you start to become irrelevant or it's not adding the additional value, it kind of, as hard as it is to do, you sort of need to step back, at least in my opinion, reassess and sort of come up with new ways to create value. We felt like that, some of our initial value creations, which was the podcasting, the video casting, and all was unique and adding a lot of value. And with COVID, people were sort of inside, but there's tons of people now that are doing great video content and great written form content as well. So um, when you and I have been speaking about how we can recreate value, that's sort of been a lot of what we're looking at doing is how can we come at it, create value, but do it in a unique sort of way and sort of go to the next thing that we see that's getting ready to come up.
Well, I mean, we were trend trackers. When we reviewed some of the in the episode 400, we went through some of the litany over the years. Over the 9 years of doing Control Talk now, and seeing how the industry was moving in these different directions, and we have all the issues and all the challenges, cybersecurity, IAQ, and then of course building health, and there's some very definite items that you could look at and examine, make good positive statements about it, and learn. I agree with you that this disruption has led us to different paths, and then we get to see the different integrations of the business aspects. Social media was, of course, that was a big thing we followed, but then how it all gets integrated, because now messaging is so important, and you were the master of messaging, and because everybody again in our world had good solutions, good products, very consistent engineering, and it was familiar across the board. And a lot of it, of course, was based on the Niagara framework. So there were many vendors and OEMs and people that used that as their springboard, into the building automation space. So it was something that we were comfortable with and we understood fairly well, and we're very adept as new changes came out. They weren't great changes; they were small incremental changes. But now we're seeing, the interplay of money, and the importance of occupancy in buildings, and the investments that people make have to be dead on, because the number of people that unfortunately lost their businesses, whether they were small restaurants or small service companies, and the availability of people. I mean, my God, I drive down the street here on one of the major roads here, Route 8 in Pittsburgh, and there's a sign on McDonald's, $20 an hour for counter service,
Yeah.
people,
Well,
and McDonald's.
yeah, no, needless to say, everything is changing, right? So, and part of what I've been really gotten interested in over the last, year is, for example, cryptocurrency, blockchain, the metaverse. And if you're not familiar with the metaverse, you will be. It is all getting ready to change, and it's going to affect our industry. So, I think part of what we want to look at going forward with Control Trends is, in addition to what we were doing before, we want to really begin to focus on the trends that might affect us in the future. So I've been spending a lot of time looking outside of our industry to other things that are going, everything from blockchain to cryptocurrency to metaverse and things like that. And we also want to really dial into the message, right? I mean, in other words, like you said, everybody's got to have a great product. If you don't have a great product, you're not even in the game. You got to have great pricing or you're not in the conversation, and you got to have great customer support. But I mean, all the major players in our industries are checking those boxes, right? So what makes the difference? And in my opinion, Kenny, is it really gets down to the messaging, the communication, how you get your message across. So all things being equal, which they are, the company that typically wins, at least the new business, now you've obviously got your residual business that keeps coming, is a company that communicates the clearest. So we're going to spend a good portion of Control Trends going forward, focusing on having our community be better at the messaging, be it from the technician that's maybe, at a customer site that needs to know how to do a 3-minute sort of presentation, do an upsell, to the people at the corporate boardroom. How do you convey your new vision? How do you pivot? Pivot's a key thing. I think that, speed is the new currency. We've known that for a while, but how does that translate to your business, whether you're a contractor or a manufacturer or a consulting engineer? So those are some of the topics that we're going to be exploring going forward. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. We'll be launching, you'll see bits and pieces coming out, but by the end of first quarter, there's going to be a lot of really wonderful surprises that we have planned. So stick with us. We appreciate it. Again, appreciate you bearing with us while we stepped away. We'd also like to get your input. And my promise to you is, if you send this to us, I'm going to give you an email address, stromquistcompany@gmail.com. If you have any ideas, anything you'd like to see Control Trends do, any comments, we will take that very, very seriously. We really would appreciate the feedback. But that being said, Kenny, last couple of years have been rough. Kenny and I are looking forward to a great new year. And if somebody said, if you want to predict the future, just create it. So join us as we help you and help ourselves create the future.
Indeed.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers, and happy New Year to everybody. We'll be seeing you throughout the year.